hope that you're wearing your protective gear because today we are reviewing Danger, the game. There may be falling objects, all kinds of things could impact your health directly. It's essentially a storytelling / judging game in which players are trying to save one victim the best way that they can.
Yes, each round someone will be the judge, aka the victim, in which they'll get one of these danger cards to find out what peril they are in. So in this case, being hunted by a mutated silverback gorilla. You know, common occurrence.
It happens.
Every other player will then look through their hand of cards and choose one tool and one skill secretly before everyone has to put their down, so no one knows what other people chose. Then, each turn, people will take turns revealing the cards they put down and try to give a reasoning of why that tool and skill would be helpful in saving them in this certain situation.
So, for instance, I may provide the head of an owl. Perhaps this gorilla is afraid of owls. I don't know. I would have to make that argument. And I also have a spoon. And maybe you could do something with a spoon.
Yes. The next person will make theirs. Usually you try to keep it within your own, so I don't try to say like, oh, because I have an advanced spoon, I'm better than you. You know, I'd say somehow maybe I use the advanced spoon to blind everything, but because I am blind but have other incredible senses, it doesn't affect me. Either way, you try to come up with a funny little story of why that would work, and then whoever's the victim decides who was the best rescuer or hero, and they get the danger card. First to 3 is the winner.
There's also one other thing that you can throw in there, which are these plot twist cards, and you're going to actually be able to play these outside of your own turn while other people are talking. They have a different border color that matches the different cards, danger, skills, or tools. And as you play them, they're going to change and alter what's happening right now.
Yeah, so you will have to roll with the punches of what other opponents place on you. And if you don't win the danger card, you're going to be able to draw more plot twists, meaning you're going to have more take that moments. However, as they match certain colors, if 2 people cannot play 2 of the same color onto a person, so you can't pretty much dump all on one person.
You don't end up with some ridiculous stacking of crazy things getting more and more crazy. Although maybe you could house rule to do that if you thought that was fun.
This is one of those games that's pretty easy to do that. Mm-hmm. There are some other modes too where someone plays a supervillain and you find out who thwarts him the best and stuff.
Right, which is pretty much the same idea, but it sort of just changes kind of your perspective a little bit.
Right.
And in general, like you said, with games like these, you know, you could really house rule and make it a different kind of variant really to suit your group as much as you like. You definitely need at least 3 people for this game.
Yeah, I think it'd be a little hard with 2 of us.
It's pretty much impossible, although, again, maybe you can come up with a variant for it. But if you're familiar with these kinds of, I guess, judge games is probably the best way to term them, like Apples to Apples or Cards Against Humanity. It's definitely in that same vein. One thing that's nice is that this one does encourage you, like I think the best of these games do, to be more creative with it and tell your own story.
That's true, and I do like that a lot, because it is fun when you can look through your cards and come up with some really weird contraption, like, because I have this ancient tome of secrets, it will give me true knowledge of the legal system, and because of that, I'll be able to bring the person to court. You know, you come up with something really funny and crazy and hilarious.
We also had some, I just want to say, some debate amongst ourselves in our group as to whether these skill cards were supposed to be given to the victim or whether they were what the rescuer had. And I think we decided you can just make up whichever one you want to do.
Whatever works best for your story.
Yeah.
But the problem with this is, I see the few other ones I've seen, is sometimes when you bring this to the table, you're like, you know, you'll come up with some great story. Then I come up and say, like, yeah, I have robotic arm and climate control.
Right, yeah, right. Yeah, I think it is like, and like most of these games, again, all the positives and negatives that come with it, and that if people in your group just don't have a good storytelling bone in their body, or they're just not feeling it, it could easily just become a very basic kind of rote exercise.
And then, of course, the game just boils that. A lot of times they will then boil the game down to just who has a card that has something funny written on it, instead of actually coming up, bringing the funny yourself.
I did think that most of the cards were fairly funny and interesting sort of things that I hadn't just seen a million times the same jokes. It doesn't go to the offensive heights that something like Cards Against Humanity does. Yeah, maybe it's like maybe a little bit edgy, but not really. But I thought there were some creative things, and I think because the setup is different, that you're trying to rescue someone, it does allow for some more interesting ideas on the cards. It's not just a joke, it's a thing that maybe you could, in a weird way, use to rescue someone.
Right, and if I'm with everyone who, as you said, has some of that, the storytelling bone, I think was the way you used it.
That is what I said.
It does make me a bit more enjoyable in what I actually would like to play with. But other than that, if you're playing with just regular, like if everyone's maybe a little drunk already, or people who just want to who are used to just playing apples to apples or Cards Against Humanity and just playing the one card, I'm like, it could boil down to that, and then it sort of loses the charm that it could bring to the table.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and that's I think the big issue that you have to worry about with any of these games.
Here are our crits and misses for Danger, the game. Crits. With the unique setup of victims and rescuers and encouraging players to actually tell stories with their cards, there's a bit more creativity at play than just playing a card and reading it out loud. The plot twist cards add a nice twist to the game, allowing for some interrupting and some take that action that breaks up a little bit of the monotony.
Sometimes the best moments are when people have to think on their feet when they're thrown a curveball. Misses. The game tries to stand out with using some storytelling mechanics, but unless everyone is on board with trying to use their skills and tools in interesting ways, it just becomes who played the funniest card, aka Apples to Apples, aka Cards Against Humanity.
Ultimately, it boils down to the group that you're with, how much fun you will have, and at the end of the day, the game doesn't really do that much different from those aforementioned games.
We tend to be a little harsh on these judge games, as we like to call them, because Apples to Apples, Cards Against Humanity, they're very gateway games, and I feel like we see them a lot in a mechanic that we feel like not very interesting. We even joked about that one Kickstarter that was it had the same thing, but every card said, I'm an adult party game and doesn't have a very good sense of humor.
Right, yeah, put out by the Dragon's Tomb recently.
But you could sort of say that with other game mechanics, which is very true. The one that we debate more on, which I enjoy and you maybe not as much, is deck building, for example. Mm-hmm. But in the end, I feel the problem is this mechanic compared to something like deck building is it's so group focused. And once you've played it a couple of times, it's either A, it's the same joke over and over, or it's you're not really getting the joke and it's just, or you don't have the cards to make a joke and just feels like you're just sitting there.
Yeah, I mean, I think, we've said it already, but again, it really does just come down to, does your group like these kinds of games? Do they bring that to the table where they are willing to give it their all and really make those jokes stand out or be really creative with it? And I think if you do like them, this is one of the better ones out there. It's definitely a step above Cards Against Humanity.
No, or at very least different enough.
Yeah, it does make itself stand out. But if you don't like these, this is not going to win you over.
Yeah, and continuing on with the problems, like these are definitely games where for some people it's like, oh yeah, this is where I want to drink around the table. Mm-hmm. But when some people get drunk, they don't really, they're creative. Some people can be really creative and funny. Others not so much. And that's, I think, where it's really sad because I have to judge the game not on the game itself, but because who's at the table.
Yeah, it's people dependent. They give you as much as they can by trying to make the cards funny, but you do have to do the rest of that legwork by yourself.
But hey, let us know what you think about this game. Maybe how you would save us from a giant mutant silverback gorilla.
Yeah, or finding Bigfoot, but he also found you, just for example.
You can let us know in the comments down below. You, of course, can let us know in other places, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Hey, maybe that's how you save us from these monstrosities.
Yeah, it's the only way you can save us is by subscribing and liking to our channel or this video, whatever it is. All right, so thanks for watching, everybody. Check out Danger the Game. It's available now. I'm Jonathan.
I'm Will.
And this was a Roll for Crit review.
Don't forget to click that like button and, of course, subscribe for even more excellent videos.
I subscribed and now I'm rich.